Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Any part who are in the world. I welcome again today on March 9, um, 2025. Welcome to VOS. Thank you for listening or for when I will join later on. Ramadan Mubarak, because this is the month, the holy month of Ramadan. So this will go on up until almost the end of the month. So Ramadan Mubarak. I also think we're also there in the Christian side of linked. So I could leave that up to Mr. Uh, Mengot, and then he could give a greeting in the name of the holy month of Easter and all of that. Uh, so today, na March 9th, 2025, I get with me Mr. Mengot, my regular co-host. I get me with me Mr. Diallo Jamborea, we regular co-host also, and but he also helps with the Matilda show on VOS. So when I go even to see him, more than me and Mr. Mengot, na VOS. So welcome everybody. So today we just follow the trend in things, then we'll get some topics that we want to talk about. So of course, Mr. Mengot and Mr. Jamborea, I then go greet you now, then go greet you now. They are not new to any one of them who they listen to it. So I will pass the mic over to them pretty soon for letting them say hello to Una. But today, basically, the topic what they talk about now just relationship between the proposed constitutional review, amendment, process, and the tripartite agreement. You know, then the main topic then they will talk the constitution, the amendment, or the proposed amendment, actually, proposed amendment, and then the tripartite agreement, and some other topics related to them. In general, that's what we'll be talking about. So let me go straight to and also let me remind our listeners them, because this is the month of Ramadan, we'll try for still within the 2 hour limit, because we want to give time to people who will get for court fast. Back home now, people don't go to court fast, so some people don't will listen, but people them will get what you call nafila, where after you don't court fast, you don't rest a little bit, you get for go to mosque, go pray. So people don't get for go nafila every night. Now, and usually the need to take place between the 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock at night. So with the traffic still within the 2 hour limit for make sure say we not inconvenient people. Okay. Now we'll get some normal information we can pass along in terms of how for reach we, in case you want to make some contribution by way of suggestions, by way of comments. Because of that, let me just go over the normal sources that I can go over. If you did North America, you try for reach we, now North America, when Canada, Mexico, United States, just call the toll-free line, 866-944-7722. If you did at the United Kingdom, then you can call plus 44 2080 891455. Again, plus 44 2080 891455. Likewise, if you're in Australia, you can call a toll free plus 61 2909 84337. Plus 61 2909 84337. And we get the universal line where everybody can call, regardless of which part of the world you're there. You can call the WhatsApp line when a plus 1 343 997 5828. This is the WhatsApp line. 1 343 997 5828. You also can listen to this broadcasting where they take place 91.9 FM. But that I think you have to, if you are abroad, you get for download the app. So you get for go download the VOS app mobile app from Google Play Store or Apple App Store. Google Play Store or Apple App Store for be able to get for reach we. Because if you call 91.9 FM now without the update, you will get a local 91.9 FM station in America or Canada or wherever. So you will get to download the app. Also, the VOS television broadcasting get different platforms then. But then they carry we na YouTube, and they carry we na Facebook, and they carry we na Twitter, which is now called X, and then a VOS television. And then VOS television websites, then if you want to watch we on the screen, like your computer, just go to www.vostelevision.com. And the same thing, you can go to the radio, www.vosradio.com. You will be able to catch we. And like I said earlier, if you go to the Play Store and download the app, you will be able to reach we the radio station or on VOS television. Then last but not least, if you go on Twitch TV, just do VOS television, you should be able to reach us. All right. Now we also get one non-profit thing we will run. We always they try for help underprivileged, picking them back home. We get talent or who have the resilience for go school and try for achieve something, but the parents do not get the financial wherewithal for back them up. So there is a VOS non-profit diaspora scholarship program where we encourage anybody, if you want to contribute something, regardless of how much, so go now www.vosdiaspora.org, vosdiaspora.org. This is now for the diaspora scholarship program. So please make contribution if you can. All right. So with that said, now please, I'll turn it over to me co-host, Mr. Victor Mengot and Mr. Diallo Jamboria. To you, Mr. Mengot.
Well, Fambulem, we glad if you can join back this week. And to all we Muslim Fambulem, where they don't talk, we don't say Ramadan Mubarak. So we the Christians, they will not say last week, Wednesday now, being Ash Wednesday. We don't begin the holy month of Lent. We, unlike the Muslims, them way in their religion, then most of them they fast. We Christians, then some of we na Good Friday no more, we can fast. Well, that said, today we can look into this issue between the key issue, where as my colleague don't say, now this tripartite report, constitutional review, and the challenges we'll get, especially in our electoral management system. Because this tripartite committee then just do the review. And some of the things they will look at, most of the NTR we will get in a salon, it is initiated from outside. Even the report, the committee self, now the United States government will give $1.6 million. And we get this heavy we rely so much on people then from outside. Now, we should say America don't cut off the development aid. Britain don't do that. Europe don't do that. So why examine this tripartite report and the constitutional review? Because even the one way we've been doing under Nescoma, now other people will get for pay for it. But apart from paying for this, let we exchange views that with the listeners them on the importance of this process. Because already Sierra Leone, as one election done, so they talk about another election. We see the two parties then, and they talk about lower level election. We talk about census this year again. So if I now look at making the system proper for ourselves before we approach the 2028 election. So with that, I go hand over to my other co-host, Mr. Jalal Jamboria, for letting himself give an introductory speech or talk or whatever you might call it before we go into the topic proper. Over to you, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. May Muslim family them Ramadan Mubarak. To the Christians, I wish you a faithful Lent season. Lent, like Ramadan, supposed to be 40 days. That's what is stated in religion. So I hope say some of the Christian family them will manage to do the 40 days. That 40 days not the kill we end. Another one who I get for bring it, I go encourage people then for do the fasting, because fasting itself is healthy. When you fast, you dey improve on your health. You dey improve on your brain power, because you dey burn all the unnecessary toxic things then are your system. That has been proven scientifically. So the one who say fasting a burden, it good for we. Me when they talk so I they fast normally even outside the seasons, yeah. Because at some point I've been suffering from diabetes. That was one of the treatments recommended. And I know it works. I've been on it for years. That notwithstanding, today they can't rub much small on this, then lost them. Whoa, I make, because in 1990-91, they'll be making the constitution they use so. I was party to it, because by then I've been there at the teachers union. We did the best that we could. Now people are saying this constitution is not good enough. That's one thing I will never agree with. But again, then get right for say so. So today, I go highlight certain things where I think say we go for begin do na Sierra Leone for make we constitutions then good enough. Because America, then constitution is almost 200 years. Norway, then constitution is over 200 years. Why we own constitution, they're not for good enough for we. Something they will not they do. We want for be with man, we will not to with man. And the next thing is, most times we make laws and don't make them honestly. There is one dictum and principle about life. You will never make change happen if you use the method we cause the problem for solve the problem. If you want to solve the problem, go away from the method, go away from the way of thinking, then you will see the thing in a different light and come with a solution that is durable. If I reach the land over back to Mr. Mangot, over to you, sir. You are muted.
I'm muted.
Yeah,
now you're on now.
Okay, go ahead. I will join in now. Let me start, Mr.
Shilan?
Yeah, let me start. Shilan, go ahead. I will join in now.
Okay. All right. Back to me until Mr. Mengot Junwi. Like I indicated earlier, also I want to notify the listeners them that in fact last week we don't decide to say because of this because Mr. Mengo just mentioned just now for say some of the preparations there for elections or some of the suggestions then we then talk about the tripartite. Normally we can get foreign assistance in terms of money or funds from USAID or from some other. the European Union or of some other organizations them that are sponsored by either Britain, Canada, the United States. So we get last week we put to listeners them for them and just call back and tell we doesn't try to get a survey on scientifically so we try to do a survey. So waiting on a feel about this, Mr. The stopping or the curtailing of USAID benefits to the rest of the world, Sierra Leone included. So I want to feel about that. Is that good for we, or is it bad for we? Because some people can say the discontinuation or the curtailing of USAID go help we for let we begin to manage and be less reliant and be self-reliant with the lily what we get. Because what we see sometimes they even give we contributions of 1 point something million. It's hard to convince anybody who know anything about running a country that a country need 1 point something million for conduct any type of things in Sierra Leone. I mean, that's the kind of money any government can raise in a matter of hours by way of the tax structure or the infrastructure in general. So sometimes I don't know if it's an embarrassment. To me, it is when foreign agencies them or organizations them or the UN or the EU get for begin giwi or something like 1 point something million. 1 point something million to a government is not something a government should be looking forward to getting. You know, so it's kind of hard to understand why do we need some of them there. Maybe some of them think yeah, where USAID and other organizations in the GUI, they'll take away our ability for strive and for ourselves. So we want to know, please, when I give you when I feedback, whether the discontinuation of USAID or the extraordinary curtailment of USAID is a blessing in disguise, or if it is good for us, or is it bad for us? So please, if I call, the lines are open. So that will be one of the first things then, if when I don't give any thought to it. So America stoppage of this USAID assistance, please call in and let us know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing for we then Africa or for the developing countries then. I noticed that even though some of we are citizens of other countries, but we still not exclude ourselves from the homeland because we are part and parcel of you guys, regardless of whether we live there or not. So please give us a feedback when you can. Now, we'd also explain to us, say, today's topic about governance, accountability, the relationship between the proposed constitutional review and proposed amendments and the tripartite agreement. So I don't know if Mr. Jamboria will want to take up any part of this right now as we speak in terms of the tripartite or the amendment, since you are part and parcel of the growth of the 1991 Constitution. So you just mentioned in your opening that some people say the 1991 Constitution is problematic and you disagree. So probably you can shed some light for we on it and then tell we within some of the proposed or proposals get for B, Mr. Jamboria. So to you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I'm not going to go into the specifics so we get for discuss because Mr. Mangot will introduce them, then we will take it from there.
There we
But
go.
one thing I would say, and where I want for caution Sierra Leone about, that was taken into consideration when the 1991 constitution was being drawn up. Some people who later became SLPP kicked against some of the provisions. And then provisions, their absence, now part of the reason we make today with the grumble say that constitution not good. And I want those in governance, let them listen to this carefully, because Sierra Leone is for all of us. Let us make the laws that will suit all and sundry. Back in 1991, the draft constitution where them been draw, one of the conscious things them way been be part of the deliberations around the constitution was how we can fit with cultural needs, how we can fit with traditional governance systems into the Westminster or Western governance system. Laws are made for people, and every human being gets specific cultural needs, cultural perceptions, and cultural beliefs. If the laws are not made within those parameters, then the laws become very troublesome. And when a law becomes troublesome, people don't abide by the law. If you go make law for somebody in a salon where they suit the Chinese in cultural needs, that man in a salon not able to abide by that law. And that word where they can say ignorance of the law is no excuse, that is colonialist. It's time we stop that in Sierra Leone. The law should be open for everybody for understand them at your own level. Because the law is not about enforcing. It's about people working with it for things to go as they should go. The law is not there to whip. The law is there to guide. So when we look at all the issues here, let we try for look at provisions. We go create room for cultural needs to be addressed. In the 1991 Constitution draft, the original draft, which was sent to the government of Sierra Leone then, a two-chamber system was recommended. It was recommended with a view that one of the chambers go meet the cultural needs. Also, you go get the chiefs and society elders, people from other sectors of society like the fraternities, sororities, etc. Let them then at their own level and now give them certain duty as trustees. This talk where they talk about international partners, moral guarantors, is very childish. Sierra Leone should have its own moral guarantors, and that is the traditional leaders. If our chiefs and these elders cannot be moral guarantors to Sierra Leone, then Sierra Leone is not fit to exist as an independent nation. Mr. Shillon, you are a moral guarantor in your home, wrong or right. Mr.
Right.
Mangot is a moral guarantor in his home. You don't have to go to your neighbor to come and guarantee peace and stability in your home. We get to move away from being children. The childish mentality of dependency, Sierra Leone should move away from it. And the beginning of moving away from it is that we get to make we lose them for suit with cultural needs. Yes, we can take part of the British system. We can take part of the American system. We can take the Scandinavian or Nordic system. Which one we suit like Kenya did. Kenya used the Nordic system in the decentralization of the governance, which today it work for them, because the way they apply them in Kenya, it go in tune or in tandem with the cultural structure Sierra Leone can do the same. We can involve our traditional leaders in governance by decentralizing. We can make law about almost vote for vote yonder, almost percentage. It's all waste of time. Because if it's not to the needs of our society, it will lead to conflicts and crises where we go back and say, oh, this was not properly done. How many times do we have not to do things properly until thy kingdom come? It's high time we begin to get serious in Sierra Leone. And just for off the record, Mr. Shillon, if you ask me, the internationals should stop funding Africa. Too much money than they give in, I make we not serious for do things properly in Africa. Over to you, Mr. Mangot.
Yeah,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Mangot, would you brief absence? We ask if the curtailment of USAID, and then I think you may also earlier in your opening indicate, say, even the British, the Canadians, and other countries have followed suit in terms of curtailing or limiting or terminating the assistance to developing nations. So the question was asked to ask the audience for, say, is it good or bad? Is it beneficial or injurious to we if they cut 10 in this? So we did try to find out. We just ask the people and call in and give their own view. So particularly with USAID, we does seem for stop or at least substantially curtailed. Whether it will be a blessing in disguise, maybe the too much aid, because I think you even mentioned in your intro or your opening, you mentioned something like some governments will give you $1.5 million for certain things. So then situations they will try to avoid, will try to see whether it's time for breakaway. So whether the breaking out, the curtailment of USAID might be a blessing in disguise, even though that might not be the intended purpose of the United States, but it may be good for us. So I just want to make you know that, since you were absent briefly. So go ahead and back to you, Mr.
Okay,
Mango.
now I think taking the topic, now give family in the background, and if we can play the video, the video we'll get for Scott here. Who's how we did. This is not the first time we talk about constitutional review in our country. We don't talk about them for long. Because the constitution in 1991, President Kabaka, he been get the Peter Tucker team. President Komakam, he get the Justice Cowan one. The Justice Cowan are the most elaborate of the constitutional review. Then the present president, even before he take over, he always say constitutional review na a priority. Well, na 7 years I don't go so. I remember say the president been say the relation review and the tripartite process. It come back for the what you do get this tripartite. The tripartite, they call it tripartite. That is where, again, as Mr. Jallo Jamboya will say, we are getting things wrong. I say, get two big boys there, TSLPP, now they immediate loggerheads. We call the people the way instead of talk about we all from the tripartite. But the key issue is that of the elections. And why important for discuss this? Then we opt for partner we for change with system. Like Institute for Election Idea, they call it IDEA. International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Administration. We get the Irish Embassy. We always they rely on these people. And election year out. The election will not get nothing for talk about in the election. But unless we manage the election system properly, because this tripartite report, it gets a whole section where the election management alone. Number one, the committee, they say they for scrutinize the election outcome. Therefore, look at certification of procedure. What do you mean by certification of procedure? Danny and I bring the problem the last time, right? That certification of procedure, where they say if they count votes by polling station, they can go, it go certify in a district. Then the third, it can now the main headquarters. All that process there. A lot of draw things for deal with the RRF, then at the result reconciliation form. Then also, after the election, we get the observer that will be how do you treat the report and recommendations, right? And then also, even with electoral, they say for review all landing. So how this tripartite committee, where they don't get a report done, then get a steering committee, because recently, then just give the first review, and then say that they can set a benchmark for monitor 80 recommendations on the report. Out of the 80 recommendations, 17 of them get institutions constitution. One and then 17 and you get what you call the entrenched clause in the constitution. What do they mean by entrenched clause? The one and then clauses then at the constitution where you not go change them unless you go through a referendum, a public referendum. So they will get laws in a parliament for determine which are the referendum process. Because I was present in Kenya when they do the referendum for the election. We get this tripartite secretariat. What happens? Who do they head the tripartite secretariat? Now the chief minister. So now one side the head. Then who do they say they get government institution. You get civil society organization. You get political parties. You get mayor. You get paramount chief. And you get MPs them. So when you look all the different sections there, how can you manage the process of so that the real challenge will get? And how are we going to look at some of these issues where they start today? These 17 recommendations, I think we get about 5 we want to deal with. I don't know if the rest of the people then could deal with Wheeler or do the 5 today, or in a while respond to. Over to you, Mr. Jamboya.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. The recommendations as they are, I believe, say the first thing the people that they deal with therefore take very serious is that they will not look at the face value of the words with them put on paper. It will be advisable for all parties involved, let them involve people them will get legal knowledge, so that everything that they are discussing now and deliberating on will be properly interpreted. Not all tempers will they go to Supreme Court or High Court for go interpret with laws. At the time they make them, a necessary law get a proper overview of what we want to do, how we want to do it. Because reading through their recommendations, I see a lot of overlaps and issues them where we get for take very serious. Maybe it's because I was a trade unionist and I make a very critical when it comes to issues like that one. Because in negotiation, you get to be very critical about what in the person where they bargain with, they say. Otherwise, if tomorrow una go sign an agreement, you not get any reason for come back and say no to this be mean. And even from the tripartite, we see that they play into it presently. In the beginning, they all went through all the sessions. At some point now, we see the APC saying, Samura Kamara did this, Samura Kamara. But why were you there? Why didn't you pay attention? Una been going to classroom for go sleep. They're not. So at this stage, that they are deliberating on these recommendations, I will admonish that they include experienced lawyers. Anytime they get anything where they're not able to reach a conclusion on, let the lawyers then come, then give their opinion. If they are not satisfied with it, let it be sent to an appropriate body, like the courts. Let them do an interpretation. Because whatever is being done today is the future stability of Sierra Leone. Now keep that in focus. Not to alter Ugodepa and cause infection. Do so. Now begin do things them for make we all able live as brothers and sisters in the country. One, now give cultural dimension to whatever they arrive at, so that everybody will feel satisfied. Two, the deliberation should be properly handled with regards to the interpretation of what is being agreed on, so that nobody no go die, because may not be see any reason why then they go and talk about convergence and divergence. When them in this school, they know the grill and algebra. Now they want can practice algebra for Dukuno the people them. We have to stop this in Sierra Leone. Now let us play on the psyche of we nation deliberately by playing with our so-called academic prowesses. This concerns the future of Sierra Leone. Let us do it properly so that it will stand the test of time. The Constitution of America would not have stood the test of time if them just go pass and so. There were deliberations on it, I'm sure. Will not be needy. But the pictures the other they show where them been gathered around the table, if they tell you say them been deliberate. They not just go pass them. The British never came with a constitution, but since the Magna Carta, then come with conventions, we take into consideration the cultural needs. The Nordics, the same thing. Let us begin to do it in Sierra Leone. The Kenyans have done it. And Ghana and Nigeria are copying from that. Ghana, they don't get an upper house for the chiefs them. We need for incorporate with traditional system in we governance. That was what the British wanted to do when Ransford Slater went with his constitution in 1924 to establish the Protectorate Assembly. It's only unfortunate we did not understand the motive, because we still put that culture of impunity into everything what they do. And that should be another thing we they guide against in these deliberations. Let us take aside impunity. Anything we go bring impunity, anything we go bring polarization should not be part of the deliberation. Let us put it aside. Let us build something we will bring we together. That notwithstanding, we will also look at how we can make a system where they work. Why I say how we can make a system where they work? Why did we go and adopt PR system when we are not technologically placed to use it? We don't have the cultural technology. We don't have the material technology to use PR system in Sierra Leone. Why are we using it? When they came with this PR system, I went on social media talking about it. But Sierra Leone, like the human race, they don't listen to knowledge. Then they wait for say, oh, them in Tokam. Now, all man, they go church, they say, in Jesus' name. When he was here, nobody cared to listen to him. It's the same thing we are doing in Sierra Leone. There are times we have to listen to each other. Because when things go bad, you will say you were there up here and it affect you. It must reach you. So if we do things, let we do them for everybody so that it not go bad. If we get for go bad self, let we get away from manage them. By the way, we will make the law, we can able manage them if you want for go bad. But if we make them badly, when it go bad, we're not able to manage them. They kick we all in the face. So we get to take a lot of things into consideration. But above all, let us put cultural and the socio-psychological needs of Sierra Leone in every law we are making. The law is not about ethics, but let there be the consideration of ethics. And also let there be a consideration for ethos in every law they make. And now look and say, that man we come on levuma, how they think and understand, we for write this law let fit that thinking environment. That one come on kalangba, how they think and understand, let fit the same way. Doing things in a rush because we think we have to do it will never help us in Sierra Leone. Over to you, sir, Mr. Mengot.
If I may interject, Mr. Mengot, let me take one or two calls, if you don't mind. Yeah. Hello, caller. What's your name? What's side you call from? Hello, caller. Hello. Hello. Hello, caller. All right. Well, Mr. Mengot, you can go ahead. So, you know, we'll use your trend of thought. Go ahead. Mr. Mengot?
I think he has frozen. Has he not?
Maybe so. Okay. Well, until Mr. Mengot comes back, it appears it'll get difficulty. You know, he joins us from Surrey, England. So we're all very far away from each other. So sometimes we get this technological challenge. Mr. Jamboria is calling from all the way Sweden. Norway. Then
Norway.
you get Norway, yeah. And then you get producer all the way in Canada. I'm here in the United States. So we're all from across the seas, from various apart. Thank God for technology. Let me go back and take a call. Hello, caller. What's your name? Which side you call from? Hello, caller.
I think the caller herself, they get problem with.
It looks like the caller is having technological challenges too. So, hello, caller. Because once the host, they on a cruise in full swing, hate for just interrupt time for take a call. So if you're on board, please go ahead and talk. Otherwise, and we try to avoid callers them being on the line for a long time also. So caller, are you on board? Hello, caller. Hello. Okay. Okay, Mr. Mengot appears to be back. So, Mr. Mengot, sorry for the interruption. I said I was just going to take 1 or 2 calls, but unfortunately, the callers seem to be having difficulty accessing the system to be able to reach us. So we'll keep trying, and hopefully we will succeed. But going back to you, I get a few questions on the tripartite, but I just want we'll just say you will play some video, so you go ask the control room for play the video for start the topic what we want to talk about. But that's for give we a preview of what we're going to be talking about. So back to you, Mr. Mingot.
Yeah, I think say at this stage,
yeah.
At this stage, now 3 things we get for look at before we play the video. 1, not only for just the tripartite no more, we for review the constitution. Because one of the things the way Mr. Jambori herself say, the problem we're going to country where they make laws them, we know they look at how one law will bring new thing come, it affects existing law. What do I mean by that? We don't pass beaucoup laws them, where, for instance, we relate to the constitution clauses them. Because the constitution are the number 1 document. I can give some example. The things for do with the Citizenship Act, the Dual Citizenship Act. When they allow dual citizenship, then therefore look at the areas of the constitution. We talk about how dual citizenship they participate in the election process. We don't get the GIWI Act, Gender Empowerment and Women's Act. Then they also get bearing on the constitution in terms of representation, discrimination, and all that. The next thing, we want to talk about this electoral review. But for now, put formula in the context, the Chief Justice be appeared at AYV recently. Let's play the video them and see how he linked the two together before we will now go deeply into some of the recommendations of the tripartite reports. The key recommendation we deal with election management system. And why important for law do that thing and day? Because now 2025 we do so. 2028 next year, the 2 parties then will get in law, then get in convention and choose them flag bearer. So all we go concentrate on now who that get for takeover. We know they look at the system we'll get when they cause the problem. When our electoral management system, we electoral laws them, when then one and day some of the tripartite report recommend for law do. So let's play this video, then we will start for look at some of their recommendations here within the report, and we examine them and let people understand. Because we're not going to 2028 again, like how we did 2023, we get a lot of controversy in terms of things for do with voter ID, disaggregated results, who that forget more, almost percentage we forget, who that get right for vote, and then so let's tell the control room, let them play them 2 video for we. Then we can continue now for begin look at particular recommendations from the tripartite report where relate to the electoral management process. I hope the control room, if they listen, we now play their video here.
Before the control room play the video, just minor corrections or point of correction. It's the AG, not the CJ. As I know you mentioned
the AG, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice.
Okay, and then you also say next year, 2028, but I think you mean next year, 2026. So
now next year, 2026, now then they do law elections, now the different party them for the 2028 election.
Yeah, but you didn't quite put it like that. You say next year, 2028. Yeah, but go ahead, just for minor corrections. That's
public is still in a haste taken into account. Yes, we have fine laws in the 1991 Constitution, but as you rightly mentioned, they require review. But how soon are we expecting the referendum? More so when it touches on some entrenched clauses in the Constitution.
So on the timing questions with civil society, those
the prosecutorial power as a result of the amendments, the constitutional amendments, Act number 1 of the prosecutorial power as a result of the amendments, the constitutional amendments, Act number 1 of 2008. But now we've seen some sections within the constitution, say for instance the jury, it's been seen a ways to get jury off the constitution. How is same done when in actual fact we've not heard of an amendment to that section that gives that power to the judges in the execution of their duty?
Well, of course, that is not the only provision that will be affected.
Okay.
Yes, whenever we enact legislations, for some of these legislations, there are implications for constitutional provisions.
True.
You will remember the debates around dual citizenship.
Right.
You know, when it was argued by some people that a corresponding amendment had not been made in the 1991 Constitution. We say the same thing for the abolition of the death penalty. The death penalty was abolished through the Abolition Act. But then, in the Constitution itself, Section 16, which talks about the right to life, gives an exclusion wherein, say, except if it's, in the execution of an order of a court. So you'll have to amend that. These are all the things that this constitutional review process will take into consideration. So yes, we have had the Abolition Act. We will make sure that there's a corresponding amendment, because it was actually recommended by the Cowan Constitutional Review Committee that yes, abolish the death penalty, but also amend Section 16 of the Constitution. So when we talk about working on the technical details of this within the AG's office, these are really the things that I'm referring to. You understand? Combing through to make sure that legislations are reflected in the Constitution itself. If you take Section 27, right, which talks about non-discrimination, but yes, it creates like exceptions, which is of importance to women's groups. I had a meeting with various groups representing issues of interest to women in this country. So we will have a new Section 27 that takes out that possibility of discrimination. We will make sure that the Geary Act, for example, which is a legislation, will make sure that is reflected in the revised constitution, not only in the context of a specific provision that makes provision for the quota system, but also in the context of how we amend Section 27 of the Constitution. So yes, there will be more than just, what you have referenced, and those are the technical things that we'll be working on.
Public is still in a haste taken into account. Yes, we have fine laws in the 1991 Constitution, but as you've rightly mentioned, they require review. But how soon are we expecting the referendum, more so when it touches on some entrenched clauses in the Constitution?
So on the timing discussions with civil society, those discussions have already started. When I was Deputy Minister of Justice and managing this process, I had consultative meetings with civil society, with journalists, with political party representatives, in which I explained the process and laid out what the proposed roadmap is. Now, of course, the calendar itself, I will say it's not written in stone, and so a concrete calendar will be developed out of these consultations, because we want to be very transparent about this process. We want to make sure that the process itself is inclusive, that at the end of the day we'll have a constitution that the people of this country have accompanied, that these people of this country can really own and say, this is our constitution. And so that is why, in taking the constitutional review process to completion, we have said the general language is to say it's our constitution. We want people to call it a Nawi constitution. And so we'll roll out this calendar very soon. It's something that members of the public will really embrace and be involved in.
Okay, Famulda, would I agree waiting the Attorney General say? So over to you, Mr. Shelon, for let me just give you view. They will begin look at the one that was specifically linked to the electoral laws then. Now the tripartite report.
Okay. There are certain things, Mr. Jamboria says something just now. I will hope there is a sincerity of purpose in the attempt to review or in reviewing the 1991 Constitution. They will not just do it for showmanship. They will not just do it for the fancy of it. They will review them so it will withstand the test of time. That should be the purpose behind it. If we do that, then it will meet some of the criteria that Mr. Jamburia mentioned with respect to laws should be passed for the general good of society, and laws should be passed not with the intention for hurt any particular group of people, but with the intention of facilitating with interaction to each other and the international community. If we do that, I think that sincerity of purpose will be met. Laws are not going to be passed because laws not to science. So law will not go past law them. There are no exactitudes in passing laws. Everything is based on making educated guessing, but with the best of introspection. Put your mind into it and come up with a reasonable proposition or proposal. If we do that, I think we'll do okay. But if they try for review, whether the Cowan review or the existing laws of the Constitution, because we see a way we go take undue advantage, because you can take advantage of something. That's one thing. But you can take undue advantage of another thing or the same thing, which will be acting in bad faith. So again, now listening to the Attorney General talking about corresponding amendments, Mr. Jamburia again mentioned something just now. We need which I can prevail on the powers to be in Sierra Leone that then get constitutional experts. When I say expert, not the expert that can draw the law per se, but for supervise whatever committees are being set. Let's get people who have background, great scholarship, great notoriety in teaching, writing constitutional law. So we will review what we propose before we even go to parliamentarians, and before we begin talk for past laws. If we can do that again, and there are many good constitutional scholars around the world, among which there may be Sierra Leoneans teaching in faraway universities, doing great works for other countries. So we need for such, I think the country owes that to the people, and we parliamentarians them, and we Attorney General, we President, we Chief Justice, they all owe it to the people. What I fear about, now we ego. Sierra Leoneans will get big ego. This ego of posturing, I call it. Posturing meaning we act like we say we know it all, when we know very little, because the law is, the change, just like our science, the change, and we try to do the best for our country. When I listen to the Attorney General talking about corresponding amendments, with the little I know about constitutional law, that is not as important. The corresponding amendments are not as important. Here is why. When Parliament passes a law, for instance, it keeps citing the death penalty, which is a good example. And I have always been one of those who felt, and I believe so, that the abolition of the death penalty in Sierra Leone is a progressive move. Because capital punishment is so uncertain to just take the life of someone, because a person can be sentenced to death because of insufficiency of counsel, meaning that get a lawyer who is good enough for defender. You can lose your life that way. Okay? And there are many things. It could be because the person get problem. I mean, there are many reasons why the abolition of the death penalty is a good thing. So I've always applauded President Bio for doing that. I think, to me, that would be one of his legacies at the end of the day. Even though some people might say, okay, replace them with this and that, but not specifically. We don't know if any law will replace the death penalty. It's abolished, it's abolished. Now, why a corresponding amendment is not necessarily needed, but it can be done. Once they don't pass the law, like for instance, where they abolish the death penalty, that's the law. It doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't matter whether a section we allow the death penalty in Australia was not amended. Okay, the new law is what takes effect, and so the corresponding amendments are great, but I think the substantive amendments are what we should be looking at and looking for. So again, I don't profess to be a constitutional lawyer. That's why always I take my time for talk about it. But the little that I know, I don't think they go about it the right way, because we get too many people who profess to be constitutional lawyers, who participate in the Constitution, where, in my view, don't have the requisite qualification, not the education now. We don't get the requisite qualification for doing a constitutional. So with that said, let me hold off, Mr. Jamburia. Let me just take a quick.
I want to say this before you take the caller. It's just a short one.
Right, good. Go ahead.
You see, that corresponding amendment, as you rightly say, not necessary. Because if you can make an amendment on what is on the Constitution, all you need to do is say, this has amended this part of the Constitution. So
Precisely.
take it as an amendment of the Constitution. Otherwise, if you make an amendment to the Constitution without a corresponding amendment, then you are saying it's an entrenched clause in the Constitution. And every entrenched clause can only be amended at a referendum. So it's gibberish the man is talking. Honestly, it's legal gibberish. These are the things we should pay attention to. If you can amend anything on the Constitution, it means it is amendable. And because it is amendable, put it on the document that by this act, such and such section is amended. Short and simple.
Correct. Yes, sir. Yeah. You're right. Because otherwise we get to go through the process. So these are the things that's why I keep going back. And the only reason why this process, like you explained, and so why we keep not knowing it, because everybody is trying to be a constitutional lawyer. Everybody is trying to be an expert. Everybody wants to say
constitutional liar, sir. I am the constitutional liar today.
So Mr. Mengot, back to you, sir, because when I talk about the citizenship
act, take your call now. You can take your call.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. What your name side to call from? Some comments that may come through, I wish the control room can run and through for we again, so we'll see, because I didn't see them, but I knew they were coming in. Hello, caller. What your name side to call from? Yeah.
Good evening. I don't know if you're hearing me.
Yes, clearly. Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening again, young men, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Thank you, my
friend.
For the three voices there. So the first thing I want to say is that they talk about, say, what you would think about the stopping of the US aid. To me, not a good thing. But the only problem that I have with it is the way they do them. This is like a dictatorship. We'll start on tomorrow, and if we start tomorrow, where you want to do that kind of thing there, the one that will become affected, if we give them time for plan, so that then they receive the shock, if there's going to be any shock. But this kind of way, where a whole country like, America, they behave this way, Well, I hope see the American them do something in the near future for not get the kind of president which he want nine for be right now. So now the problem now don't get up because
Ilan
why
from
we
Sierra Leone, sir.
because the thing here is we they continue to mismanage our resources and we dey hope say let us in Kangi we. Look at this appointment at the city, then they appoint, then sack and it costs the country money because then they pay anybody with them. Salon, then they do like yeah, then they wait for pension, then they pay benefits, and a plenty money they pay people and so. Because everybody with them sack after 2 years or 6 months, then they pay and boku money. We continue for waste money, but we dey go for go big. But what we just have to do here is then for don't give we a way for law we absorb that shock because it's going to be a shock anyway. And the thing about the constitution, first thing I get my own contribution now is I don't know if you don't know about the white paper of the government. Everything that is happening in Sierra Leone in our government control and power consolidation. The thing that we did not accept so far, they were not much different from what the APC accept. That means the power will try to take away from them. When they make the constitution, when Mr. Jallo talk about, say, it being well drafted, it only work. It will only work when they take these powers, then when they no one left. So, for instance, the other thing they wouldn't want to accept, where so people are not much different or important. Oh, law we make a fixed date for election. Law we take the paramount chief them from down and accept them. They get other few things they wouldn't want to accept. But the most important, even the Supreme Executive Authority, they no one left them. Even as Kurma reject them, this president Bakisi no left them. Go. So the main thing is the way they make say that man when they take put on top the constitution, they pull them they not agree. So my own proposal here is let them do them like where them be appoint Cowan and waiting Cowan it, let not get for do with politicians them. They do with the people them directly. But as long as in this even though it's a steering committee, they don't put a lot of SLP people in there so that any 12 government wants na in they be. Now make them put few opposition people in there. They just say them blend them. So we put paramount chief or civil society. Because even civil society, then we put the way they dance to their tunes. So law we make sure say we advocate for make government pull hand on the constitutional review. Lale fire for the time being. Thank you, gentlemen. Bye bye.
Yeah, Mr. Very quickly, Mr. Mengot, let me just go. Yeah, what did Mr. Mustafa say? Sometimes shock is a good therapy. So it's not always bad. Because unless we realize we're not entitled to notification or notice from the giver. Aid can be caught because there is lesson to be learned that there may come a president of the United States, as we've seen in Mr. Trump, who doesn't believe that we are deserving of certain aids that we are getting from this great nation. As a result, we always know say it can be cut off any time, not just like somebody will give you assistance, it give you a right to work, or it give you any kind of benefit you're entitled to, but you do it by out of your goodwill. You should never become so dependent as to become so reliant as to think that it may continue indefinitely. It may, but you'll be foolish not to anticipate that any given time, even the possible to do them for you or the country. Governments change in these countries like America, Mr. Trump kind of power. You get your ideas, you get your own policy. And this is not only towards Africa, our developing nations. We see other countries, then they get some of it right from countries like Ukraine, okay? And Canada, Greenland, Mexico. So we see when President Trump comes, they get a different policy. So what in that tell we is that this all should be lessons for we. It's time we get to act together and start looking, being able for help ourselves. And the reality is we can do a lot for ourselves. I mean, we don't have to be so extraordinarily dependent that every time we get for look for foreign assistantship, for renovate we parliament, we get for foreign assistantship for renovate with university, like with preeminent university, Frabe College. We need somebody for giving money for do anything. I mean, it's about time. We have to stop this thing. It don't make any sense. We should start showing some a sense of responsibility. So I am one of those who fall on the side of, I think it's a good thing for we. Cut off USAID, yeah, people may suffer, but people are suffering anyway, even when it's not cut off. Now, I think it's a great program, don't get me wrong. I don't share Mr. Musk's belief that is a criminal organization. I don't even think Mr. Musk, as bright as he is, as wealthy as he is, fantastic engineer, I don't think he knows what he's talking about when he say the USAID is a criminal organization. He definitely doesn't know what he's talking about because it is not. How can the United States openly be a party to a criminal organization? So to me, there is some indication that he clearly doesn't know what he's talking about. But we for learn, not just so much the hurt tool to go through, what are we going to learn from this? Because if we not learn, what was the plan? Where calamity take place? Where earthquake take place? Where tornado take place? There are lessons to be learned from denting the air. So if we ignore this, what if Mr. Trump to do so? So we'll not get anybody for blame if it happens again and again and again in the future. It could, So let me just go back to you, Mr. Mengo. Sorry about that, sir. I just do general observation.
Well, I think at this point, now we read some of them comments here. Because not to all man get for phone. Now read some of the comments where they come and respond to them. Where they come, if the control room can put them up again. You can see quite a few.
Yeah, I saw some too. We'll get 2 calls, at the very least 2 calls holding, but we'll do that. So who wants to read the comments? Mr. Mango, do you want to read them?
No, I mean, you can read them for me because
okay, all right.
I not get.
Okay, there is one comment. Well, it may be bad for countries that are experiencing serious climate change, but like Sierra Leone should go and learn from Burkina Faso to improve methods of agriculture, but behavior and seriousness, I believe. This is what this comment says. Let us see the other one. Go ahead, Mr. Jamboria.
That climate change issue, let we not mix up with you said. Climate change interventions is separate. And there is a separate body controlling climate funds. I think it's connected even with the United Nations system. We need for the getting clarity here. You said anything then do it connected with climate change, not then your own initiative. But the Global Climate Fund, where then they talk about climate economy, it's controlled by a branch of the United Nations. And that climate change fund, one thing no more get for big advocate, let them make a more open because it's complex. And it has to have government involvement. Sierra Leone is benefiting from that fund, but the people of Sierra Leone don't know about it. It's been misused. It's been misused. Now begin making it here clear.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jamboria. Here's another one. Voice of Salon was the this is a question it looks like. Was the PR system timely for 2023 general election? I think we all saw how late Abdullahi Conte fought it in court but was defeated. So this is a question posed to her. I
would answer that question, sir. I tried to answer it before they took it up. but they refuse to listen. I live in a society where the PR system is part of the electoral system. It has been for a long time. One thing about PR system, just like what they say just now, it therefore meet the cultural needs of the society. The Scandinavian or Nordic society, when an open society with high trust levels, PR system is good for them because everybody gets involved in politics. In the Nordic societies, the political parties, the predominance in politics is not above the participation of the people. So PR system works for them. That means culturally they are fit for it. Next about PR system, the way and manner where they calculate everything, we not get the technological infrastructure in Sierra Leone. If we continue for use them, it will continue for the bring doubts about the results. Because it involves a lot of calculation here and there.
So simply put, is the PR system good or bad for us?
It's not yet good for us. We may use it at some point in the future, but not now. Okay. Anybody who they use it now, na kuku jumuku business idepa.
All right. And I think the PR system also is a corresponding law, another act will control the electoral process. But Mr. Mengot go address that for we, as far as that is concerned. Let me take a couple of calls. Okay, before I take the calls, let me just read this again. The problem of Sierra Leone isn't about the laws, but about insincerity and wickedness and disregard to fellow citizens by those who think they are powerful and should treat others with impunity. So this is just a comment I'm reading.
I would agree with this statement 60% because the word wickedness are the take out of it. I go replace her with ignorance and impunity, the culture of impunity. Now, no problem. But by and large, not all we lost them wrong. Now we mental infrastructure wrong.
Okay, another question. I think this, well, let me see. The way it's written, is if the one-party system comprised of both APC and SLPP didn't work for Sierra Leone, what else can work? Well, there are many other things that can work.
That's rhetorical. It's a rhetorical question.
Yeah.
And Peter Dowda is very correct. At the time when we had one party in Sierra Leone under the APC, SLPP members, prominent members came on board. They held prominent offices in the APC and it didn't work. If it didn't work at that time, then it cannot never work in Sierra Leone. And added to that, the Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, they had a one-party system in 1960. And they ran with that one-party system up to 1993. It worked for them. Under Ofebwane. It worked. Because Ivory Coast developed very fast. We everything go bien. So it just attests to the fact that not to the system matter, now the way we they think.
The leadership, yeah, I agree. Okay, let me take a couple of calls, then we'll go to Mr. Mengot. Hello, caller.
Yes,
What's your name?
yes.
Where you call from?
Yes. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Pretty good, sir. Good morning to you, I presume.
I'm morning to you in our network.
Yes, sorry?
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
I'm monitoring to win Australia.
All right.
Yes, sir. Me and Salon first, I want to thank you for our time, on our make today. So I believe also when they talk about the constitutional review, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's another off topic too far. So yeah, it's necessary. It's needed. But under me own opinion, I not believe for say it will be under this current government. It will be under a fresh government. I think we'll go back into the same circle if this government make an attempt to say we don't make a review. It's not going to work. We're going to be in square one again. The Constitution, I look into it. The reason why, I'm a small lawyer in Australia, right? The reason why sometimes I can call an okay leg for refer to Sierra Leone Constitution, Sierra Leone legislation or constitution, it's because the Constitution itself, it's not perfect. The legislations, them, are very problematic. For example, I'll take inside the Constitution, section 119, section 119, 6 and 7, where it give the AG, the Author General, in power. Section 6 of that, under 119C, the Author General, nobody not go tell them waiting for do, not go control them or tell them waiting for the right. But then Section 7 taking power away. The president taking power away, is stripping power by stating it must not preclude the president. So it seems like that they give the power, then take them back straight away. So these are the problem there. And then if you look at Salon legislation, the acts them, when you read it, you can see a lot of problem there. They will use the word like he, what he stand for, a male. So it could say he or she. So these are the little mistakes they are making in their documents. When I look at it, coming to the aid, una they talk about, I want to disagree. Una outrage about the fact that Donald Trump they make an loud say they remove aid from third world countries, right? Well, aren't you guys outraged? Waiting that they use their aid them for? America not good for Salon or Africa in general, because look what thing that they use them in the homosexual, changing sexual agendas and all that there. Aren't you guys outraged on those sort of things? And again, to add in the insult, the aid that they send, either they give the third world country there, it's less than 1% of the American budget, right? So, and just to set the record straight, Europe last year, now start for the remove aid, for give aid. Donald Trump start for doing this year, but when he do, I ain't doing loud. Europe they do well softly. Nobody know about it. Check the record. 2024, now the European Union begin for cut aid. So I just want to correct that record. That is my contribution.
Thank you so much, fellow colleague, for calling. But let me just proceed. Let me read a comment. I will take a call. I'm trying so hard for us to get back to Mr. Bengot. In Sierra Leone, our presumed constitutional experts involved in the constitutional discourse are mediocres who sit on AYV TV as analysts, critiquing grammatical structures of the Constitution. All right, so I leave that to the person who sent in the comments, because I don't watch AYV that often. so I don't know whether grammatical structures have ever been an issue. But I can say, in relation to what in this person to say, that goes back to what I said earlier. In fact, I can tie that up with the gentleman, the professional colleague who just called from Australia, the young lawyer, where they talk about conflict, contradiction between like the Sierra Leone Constitution. I haven't looked at it, but they say Section 119 will give the Attorney
He's
General, will say,
correct. I've seen that part before. He's correct.
yes. Then he said, then Section 7 of the Constitution kind of conflict or contradict the power where then say Section 119 give the Attorney General. My answer to
Subsection,
that,
the Auditor General he was talking about.
okay, he was talking about the
The
Auditor General.
Auditor General he was
Okay,
talking about.
okay. So you see, that poor draftsmanship they lead to that, where where two sections and they conflict or contradict each other. These are some of the things
It's
we're
there.
talking
It's
about.
on the Constitution. I read it some time back and I said, oh, where did this come from?
Okay.
One part say the Auditor General, nobody know for question them. Another part give all the powers of questioning the Auditor General to the
To the president.
President.
Correct.
Now,
See, again,
subsections under the Section 119. Now, Abbas
so,
Mundu then do that okay because now they
yeah,
write that now they rewrite the 1991 Constitution.
well,
Yeah,
these
and
are some of the
Abdullah
things.
Gon-
That's why I'm pleading, and neither one of them are the constitutional lawyers. So that's why I'm pleading again, if we forget sincerity of purpose, if we want a document we go with stand, this is not got nothing to do with grammar, or then they talk, but this is not just clarity. You write the constitution with simplicity and clarity, not to grammar, you know. So if we can just try to do that and with some sincerity of purpose, I think we'll end up with a very good document. Somebody comments to say the reason why the one party system didn't work out for us was because it was not created in good faith. That sounds about right, and was implemented by the APC, putting the SFPP under duress to get on board. I'm not so sure on that about that. I'm not so sure about
That's
that
why
because if you stand for principle, they're not they force you for join. You didn't have to join. Not to you could have
Manabaka
said,
did not join the APC and nobody put her under duress.
That's a good example. So I don't agree with this person. I think on the one half of what you say I agree, but what you argue say the other way now I don't agree with
The
it.
lack of good faith, I do agree with 100%. And I
Correct.
can even say the lack of good faith is what is destroying Sierra Leone today as we speak.
Yeah.
We lack
Acting
good
in back.
faith. Lord, let
Yeah.
the blame. We all lack good faith for each other. We all are hypocrites to ourselves in salon. Lord, left this hypocrisy. I do so.
So then let me take one more call. Mr. Jabor, Mr. Mangot, I'm beginning to feel sorry for you, but you say let's take all the calls, so let me go for it. Hello, caller. What did I name? Where the call from? Hello, caller. Hello. Well, Mr. Mangot, I think you can go for this because some today has not been the best day for as far as technological ease is concerned. With callers are having difficulty, we are having difficulty. So
Now the tariff between Canada and America don't begin affect to issue. Now the technology don't begin get affected. All man they draw back on the internet.
So, Mr. Mengot, you can go ahead before the callers can get through again. And we're approaching time. We want to stay within the 2-hour limit. So let's move on.
I think, say, for move on, I want to rub much small pan what we read out about the one party system. And what they do them program here, we get for land from other country them. Waiting, I think, say, I will use the Kenya example because I've been in Kenya when they get this process. What they had was a government of national unity. It was not one party. They had a government of national unity. The two leaders, them, Raila Odinga from the Rainbow Coalition and Mwai Kibaki, then come together and say, okay, let's put everything aside. Let we review the constitution.
Yeah.
We review the whole constitution to the people them with a referendum with one question. Now the problem with this AG is that even if you want to do referendum, because the way we want to do an salon now, because if we listen to a clip, it says some of the one they went to entrench clause, then amend them na parliament. And any sections na constitution, you get forget 2/3 majority. I get problem with that. Why I get problem with that under this system? Remember this whole controversy when they deliberate on the Auditor General a removal. Then talk about 2/3. The Constitution said 2/3 of parliamentarians. 2/3 of members present. So if you don't go with that 2/3 of members present, the PRI system give one side absolute advantage. So there are lots of things where they can change to that 2/3. So why do a process where half of them you want change and through that system day, then the other half you want go through a referendum. And for go through the referendum, what's in a referendum? How they go do them? The process is you get for go parliament, do a referendum act, we go show the rules of the game. Then the other key question they put to the people then. Or which you want to reject. Because there are so many issues them who they tackle. I'll give you an example. Even in the Constitution. Somebody say, how can you conduct election during the one-party system where members of APC were all elected unopposed? I don't know who side that person they come out we make this question, but being ever in a salon where all members of parliament go unopposed. Anyway, let's continue with which are the talk and not lose the flow. So, as Mr. Jamboya said, we get forget the process right. What are we changing? How are we changing it? How that mami na Bonkolenken, or that pa na Koidu, or the one na Kamayama, how they go be able to understand what we want change? Now, very important. Yeah. Because the Constitution, it deals with so many things. And because when I listen to the AG, if they talk about say, oh, they get for include other chapter, they get for begin talk about mining act. Some of those things which are in the Constitution
they
are not
should
relevant.
not be part of the Constitution, for God's sake.
Exactly. I see another thing. Now take the president.
Citizenship, resource control, lentin and therefore be statutes.
Yeah. Lord, take another thing in the Constitution.
Yeah, you
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You just wonder what's wrong with these people.
Yeah, another thing
and functional illiteracy, nothing wrong, sir.
Because they talk about elections,
things when we don't know.
Because they talk about elections, we not get enough time, but we will take one or two of the recommendations of the tripartite report. But one other thing within the Constitution, which I am opposed to, we're not supposed for the day, right? Now this thing where the political parties first na been political party registry council. Now they don't go make a political party regulate the council. Where you get forget sections of the constitution where you get a body where they regulate political party. It don't make sense. That should not
It's
be
ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's unnecessary. They're not for
Yeah.
junk the constitution. Therefore, this is why I keep advocating. Please get expert. These guys just don't know what they're doing. Too much bookman and say
Exactly.
too many cooks spoil the food. We get too much
So
bookman there.
because we get small time, now go back to how we begin. The things that were in the tripartite report were relate to the elections. If we go to recommendation 3, na the tripartite report, it talk about information documentation management policy. What in that they mean? When they do the audit, right? The ECSL then do procurement. Then they been cause a lot of controversy the way they procure the machines then for the election. If you don't remember the laptop business been kind side, then get to where how they procure the ID, the voters registration card, even the accounts. So all the information then this recommendation they say, it will be available to the public because documentation is very important. And the other thing where come back any day na the constitution or the electoral law because then they mix waiting in the electoral act and waiting in the constitution. Because Ulster will review the electoral act. We review it just before the previous election. Now they force them to introduce the PR system where Abbas Bundu will warn the parliamentarian and say it will be ultra vires because the constitutional amendment and it can be done by a referendum. But then the same Abbas Bundu cleverly tell them say, but anyway, PR system there, now the constitution already. My colleague Boy be not mention them. The 2/3. They say, but if the ECSL chairman or whoever been there around, he consult with the president, he can recommend to the president, say, let's go with the PR system. Now, can we go to this problem again now? And the two systems, they're still there in the constitution. They're still there. And how will they prepare for the next election with all this information document system? Again, it come back to this issue of disaggregated information, the votes. Because what we know, you come to a polling station, you verify them, you can't go to district tally, you verify them, then you can't go to the central command. What is wrong with publishing results by polls? You get one side, they argue, say, give it disaggregated results. You get the other side, they say, the law not tell we for contentious issue. Allied to that recommendation, the recommendation 15 of the tripartite report, it say government for subsidized national ID. They not tell you what subsidize mean. That's another, as you can say, these are the ambiguous recommendation. What do you mean by subsidize? If you want to let government make national ID free, tell we say government for issue national
Just
ID
say
free
so.
of charge.
Yeah, say so.
Yeah,
Easy. Very easy.
Yeah.
You not take too much book or too much English.
When you say subsidize national ID, they say because the national ID you will now use instead of voter register and voter registration card because they want to abolish them. Now, that for me that's a good idea, right? But again, waiting at the definition of subsidy, right? Because now we get a system where every Sierra Leonean gets a unique identification number, which is the NIN, National Identification Number, right? And for the viewers they own, I can proudly display my own certificate for chose, I get a NIN, a national identification number. This is a verification. The certificate will then give me, I get the NIN number, my surname, my date of birth, and also the center. Waiting alone. If you search, you ask for Mohammed Bangura, you will get thousands of Mohammed Bangura. Yeah? But they all go, you can even get Mohammed Bangura, they were born the same day, Seth. We get the same birthday. But if they get a unique national identification number, with every document, that's one progress I would say this government don't make, what I would doff me out to them. With every document linked to that national identification number, it means your driver's license is linked to it. It means your passport is linked to it. It means your NACIT contribution is linked to it. Even your payroll, if you work. Because now, for teachers, they say teacher can forget PIN number. Why teacher can forget PIN number before? Yeah? These are questions should we ask. Nurses, they say can forget PIN number. Why they can forget PIN number before they pay them? We know of a situation where nurses, then they don't qualify, we don't work. Teachers, then they don't qualify, we don't work. Because they don't get that PIN number, they know they get paid. And everything is centralized. So you get for Kamal, if you there, I don't know why they work in a tongue. If you there, McKinney, right? So until you go get for Kandom all the way in Africa. For Canada, the place, let them can't give you PIN number. This is not unnecessary burden on with society. So let's stop here, then again a chance for comment on then two changes here where they now the tripartite report. And we will continue, there's more. So one, this documentation in terms of how the public results and things for do with transparency in terms of procurement, the account, how much they spend. Because remember, say, when we been to do this Guinea, we saw them in the the ballot box in our side. How come we're not able to get enough ballot box then? When it comes to even printing the voting, the paper that they use for votes,
yeah,
the ballots then. Yeah, they send us South Africa, they make them. Then come, then show you na airport. For God's sake, we get government printers. Why we not upgrade government printers? Why for they go print ballot paper in South Africa? So these are some of the issues they talk. Then it come back and the disaggregated results again. How do you publish it? In this day of technology, as they recommend, they forget websites. So you were able to go on an ECSL website, you look every polling station, you know almost people and vote for who. So that way there's no way where somebody go tell you before the election, they can say one person don't get 56%. Now when they call, you work from answer to some. You don't get the answer. But now, when they say, go look, because you remember when we do maths in school, maths paper.
You just
look at the steps where they take. Yeah. Then they look at the steps where they take before you reach the answer. Even if you get the answer wrong. But if you get some of the steps right, then they give you
some credit.
Some mark. Yeah, then they give you full. Now the same thing now in country, right? We get steps them. Why you get for jump one step? You say, no, the law not say so. We not show any disaggregated result. So let's hold on for that. We get about 10 minutes more. Let's give the chance for comment on some of them. Then two recommendations. Recommendation 3, we deal with documentation, transparency, showing the accounts, procurement, and recommendation 15, we talk about the ID card. Over to you, Mr. Shillon. Age before beauty.
No, yeah, but basically, my thing to that, like you say, the national identification number, I think it's a fantastic idea. I think the administration of the giving people then the number is where they are not doing it rightly. because that national number, like how you say, there may be 1,000 Mohammed Banguras, and there may be several Mohammed Banguras with the same birth date. But it's highly unlikely that if you get your unique ID number, it will be completely distinct from the other Mohammed Banguras or the 1,000 Mohammed Bangura or the 999 Mohammed Bangura we left. So the ID number there is very, 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 very important, and it should be unique. I agree with that. So for that reason, like you say, that's one of the progressive thing we can put under President Bio in column, because I think that's what you call progressive policy, progressive system, progressive legislation. I think is good for the country, because these are things that will transfer from generation to generation to generation for the good of the country. Okay? The PR system, like how you say, I think it hurts the country, because the PR system, first of all, the other law with the PR system they compete with must be outlawed, must be abolished. You can't get two corresponding electoral laws then with respect to voting. And then government get the choice of picking which one they want. We'll forget one clearly defined system. Or for go by. So it seems to me the PR system, it seems to me, should be abolished. So Mr. Mengot, you may correct me on that, but I think the PR system should be abolished. Is that the thing that comes under section 38? 38A and something, Mr. Mengot?
Yeah, 38B. You get 38 when I first pass the post. But another thing, let's go back. My comment on that, the PR system was introduced for a purpose, right? And if it was introduced for a purpose, there should have been a clear criteria under which when you go use them. Because then bring in our system, they say when there's no constituency. But then they left them out. So if you can forget an alternative system, you can forget a clarification, you know, because then they under the act, you get what you call miscellaneous provisions. Under that miscellaneous provisions, now for clarify when you use the PR system. But I think so we can take one more call before I will go over to Mr. Jalo Jambuya.
Okay. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where's the call from?
Yes, Nami again, gentlemen.
All right.
Well, Mr. Bengo just to ask a question. Why then use the PR? Why then carry it? In 2002, Bakaba, we want to make election, the 2003 election. Being a lawyer, you know, I broke the law. Now I make the e-talk say, now I make it carry on parliament say, well, we no can conduct election under PR, where you know the part of the constitution. Now they make that emergency one, they put them 38A. So therefore, after that term now, we don't get constituency, not for the use time again. That is the reason for the establishment of that. The other two I want to talk back say all which I have not been put them clear this no. When would they talk about the problem of the constitution as well? Not to say now we get problem of people we get problem of say the law way not good, make it not do so that people are not going to misinterpret them or misuse them. And they give back another law way contradictory to what I don't say. They say every 10 years they make a census, and then go back and talk. Say the president can declare census at any time, so you don't defeat that purpose. Because if not suit them, it will talk. Say let them make census. Anybody make census every year.
Let's just make a point of correction, sir. Sorry for interrupting you.
Yeah.
The constitution says census now every 10 years, but the electoral law, the election statistics and law say that is where the problem comes. Yeah, because if you get one thing at the constitution, you don't forget another subsidiary law when we go against what in Now that constitution day. That is where the problem comes. Because the 5-year census is there, now the Statistics Act, not in the constitution. Sorry, go ahead, sir.
No, but even the declaration for say government president can declare, it ain't at the constitution. Because the way he declared that midterm census, now in the codes, then they quote them. So now they had to talk about that contradiction where they. If you know they at all, then they're not going to use them.
No, Mr. Mustafa, let's get that straight. Are you saying the act will enable the president at the discretion of the electoral commissioner for request a census is in the constitution?
No, it's not going to do with the electoral commission. Then you talk, about statistics.
Statistics Act. Yeah, they. But in order the constitution say the president can call an election. For say can call a census after 5 years. The constitution strictly say 10 years. But the Statistics Act now say president can ask the ECSL can get the permission of the president for conduct a 5-year census. And as we say, the draft way they
a midterm.
Same thing.
Midterm and 5 years.
But go ahead.
Midterm and 5 years.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, according to which I've been gathered, they tell them they count that arguments. Then I don't know which side them they quote them from, but them they quote them from a number. I don't be no saying that statistics are alone them they use or Statistics Act. Anyway, the other two I want to talk about
Mr. Mustafa, please let me also interrupt you. That law day should have been intercepted before it even go into effect. It was grossly unconstitutional and illegal. That law day was passed by Parliament. Okay, so the lawyers in Australia, you for blame them. The civil authority or the so-called, I don't know how they call them, they all just fell asleep at the steering. That should have never become a law. It should have been opposed right from the get-go. It should have been dead on arrival. Now, illegal law.
Yes.
It's just illegal.
Yes, but if no salon say anything the president wants, they get them. Because the one which don't court, they know they hold them accountable. They will do what look what they happen right now. So, where the first lady they talk about issues of the law, as he talk, I'm sure they don't go act. So, so you go tell you say what the president will want or the office one will get them. Just briefly, the two I want to talk about the tripartite. The first I want to talk about all of you back you get for gear towards the sincerity of purpose. What did they want to do with them? Because the tripartite they against government, the interest of government, because that means they get for conduct or a near clean election. So they're not going to put any emphasis for do the things the way they for do them inside that tripartite. So we can sit down here for the next 2 years. We can get for come through. I mean, we can get for pass. You not get for changing much because what I want to correct back where Mr. Shilon talk say and a good thing for government. They can give president credit to the president. No, the NCRA was instituted during an excruciating era. And I didn't make that act for make that need. Now just implement them. And that's what I want to say. No, I thank you for giving me the time.
No, the death penalty. I recall saying the president for get credit the way I see him.
Oh no, I think about Nakra.
Huh?
I wish you talk about the need where Mr.
Let me just comment on that one before I go hand over to Boy. Now, yes, Mr. Schiller, you did say you could give the president credit. And let me give you something now. Because
giving him credit for what? Now, wait a minute. Yeah. Give him credit for what? What did I say for giving credit for?
For implement the NIN. the national identification number because I'm doing
Oh,
the era.
yes.
No, sir. Mr. Mangot.
Yes.
The last
Hold on,
time I was in Sierra Leone, I'm coming, sir. 2015.
Now give me a chance to done, then I will allow
I
you.
took a national ID card and I have a NIN, sir. In 2015.
What year was that? No,
2015.
sir. I can challenge you on that. There was no NIN.
Mr. Mangot.
Yeah, but
Mr. Mangot.
We don't need for making contradictions.
Registration. Okay, no, don't contradict. Okay, I will talk waiting while I say so. And I went to register. Hold on. I went to register for the 2018 election. During the time of the registration, that was the time they said they go register for vote, but also then take information for giving national ID card under the ECOWAS system. Right? The biometric ID. The NIN is directly linked to the biometric ID. We did not have a biometric ID before this time. That I can tell you, I'm sure. Anyway, that's a moot point. So let me give you a chance now, let you express yourself because we're almost done now. I think say this is my last word on this subject. So
as far as I know, I had a NIN given to me. It may not be valid anymore with a Sierra Leone ID card that was plastic and which was biometric in 2015. I had to take that because I went there to open a business. And part of the requirements of opening a business, you forget anything and then you get bills paid locally, an address, etc., etc. That happened in 2015, November of 2015. But that notwithstanding, now come to the issue. The issue is Sierra Leone has no business in this modern age forget problem with information collection and management. What we have problem with in Sierra Leone, we have still not moved on from our pre-colonial caste system wherein a few people want to be in control, they ensure they do everything to control everything, even with information management. Why is it that 60 years after independence, a small country like Salone, who for still they do census? We don't need a census in Sierra Leone. NACRA. I will tell you now, Mr. Mangot, I did a consultancy paper for NACRA at the time when it was National Registration Office. As a matter of fact, the second head of National Registration Office was my uncle, Malik Jallo Jamboria, who passed away years ago. Now under Shaka Stevens, then formed National Registration Office. Then fast forward, at the time of President Momo, I did a consultancy where I recommended that Immigration Office, births and deaths, NACRA, they all for be computerized so that there will be a synchrony of data. By then I was not in Norway. Some of us think ahead. And some of us have done a lot of contributions to make Sierra Leone a better place. But now bien we they go. Because we still get this king subject mentality. Now they take run with governments them. And therefore they centralize all things always and make everything crisis and incompetent. If we get a synchronized electronic system, we don't need a census. Any picture born, I like in a village, then get an app na a mobile phone, the nurse will deliver them or the bat attendant will deliver them, then punch, they register them, it can at the national database, we know say this person don't born. Person die, then do the same thing. So we keep track of the population, 1. 2, at we border points, we forget the same system there for everybody who they come in and go out. You gave an example of Mohamed Bangura. Mohamed Bangura is a common name in the Mano River Union. How do we know a Mohammed Bangura that is Sierra Leonean, Guinean, or Liberian? Winning is faulty. If you have a social security number in the United Kingdom, there are coded figures in it that tells the person where they deal with them, say this man, even though he has a right to be a citizen or stay here, but he is a foreigner. Do we have that in our NIN? No. A lot of things they will for do in Sierra Leone. But we not do them because we are still using the method that caused the problem, wanting to solve the problem. If we want to make Sierra Leone a better place, let we review with social systems. All places on earth, then they modernize their culture. They never go take other man culture. The United Kingdom never went to borrow cultures. They are modernizing their culture. America never went to borrow cultures. They are modernizing it. In Africa, we want to modernize, but we don't modernize our culture. That's where we create problems for ourselves. It's high time we begin to do things right. And it's high time we stop praising about who did what. We are doing it for Sierra Leone, not for a person. Information management not for be a problem in this present age. I have been saying this a long time ago. As a matter of fact, one of the things I expected this government to do, which they have not done, when they established DSTI, I felt that we are going to make the public sector completely electronic, even with the financial system. Which means everything where they go in and out is trackable. And they get economic benefit for the country. Over the last 9 years, I have not used cash. I did all my payments from this. I did receive all payments on this. The fact that we left for print cash, now economic benefit for the country. Then it stop corruption. Nobody can get corrupted in Norway. And this is not over expensive systems to put in place. The money where they don't spend within the last 6 years, it can put that system, they treat them in place. Are we ready to change Sierra Leone? If we are ready, let us do it right. If not, let we continue so, we they create disaster for posterity. And one thing where we get for no, we don't talk now about aid and assistance. America stopping USAID, Europe stopping aid. That is a signal Africa get for grow up. Europe gets an old population. Mr. Schillen, European population, 60% of and then are me and you age group. And therefore take care of them. They not get that luxury for they go and give again. They not get that luxury for Meku Pikin and they load in a boat, they come. They don't begin stage 1. They reduce assistance. Stage 2, then they lock the road. Migrants will find it difficult coming to Europe, like how Trump they do so in America. So therefore begin plan ahead. And planning ahead means those in power now, we should begin to tell them the hard fact. Do it right. Do it right, because you're doing it for yourself, you are doing it for the country. All these electoral systems, these laws and this and that, what they talk about. So if we do it right, will they create a lot of benefits for the country, where there is peace and trust. People engage in economic activities where they bring more money into the society. Where there is no peace and trust, people engage in activities where they destroy the country. You work when sit down in office, they thief money, then go come money, not go there for thief again. Yes. Right now, if they cut off all international assistance, the government, they go bankrupt. Because we not get the internal structure for sustainable economy. Don't mean all the noise so then they make. I hear chief minister, they talk then this year, they don't make 26 million pan cacao. 26 million for Sierra Leone. What is that? When your national monthly expenditure runs into hundreds of millions. We can for begin say this thing as it should be said. If they don't want to hear, fine. Some of who don't retire. Now road with this. So I am 28 days to being 70.
Now, whose road you did, Mr. Jamborea? Now you
I am
talk,
28
speak
days
for
to
yourself.
being 70. If I die now, I have no regret.
No, I'm saying.
So what
I say, speak for
saying,
you.
I'm saying it for God and country, not for please anybody. Would I know I really lucky is? I don't care.
Now, you say I road with this, so I say, now we all travel
Well,
individually.
we are me, not to you. If you know and I explain, I'm not afraid of that.
Anyway, let's give Mr. Shillon the last. Let's give Mr. Shillon the last day, and I think so. We don't give small bunya, Mr. Jamboya. We don't give about a lot of time for let of steam. So, I mean, I say good.
Me not get steam. Now talk at the talk. Me not get steam. Now talk at the talk.
Yeah. So, let me say good night. I don't get any more for ad. Like we said, this the Ramadan. So we try for keep within the time limit. So thank you everybody for listening. I hope we will meet again next week, Sunday, and try for hammer out some current events. So my sincere thanks to my co-host, Mr. Mengot, and Mr. Jamboria. Thank you very, very much, guys. And I hope all of us will live long enough to meet again next Sunday. Thank you.
I will live beyond next Sunday. But I didn't good. No worries.
I'm praying.
I will live beyond next Sunday, but I didn't good, and I'm aware of that. I didn't good, not because I'm sick, because of my age.
I know what you mean. I was just joking. I hope you know that.